Good afternoon, I'm Jim Cooper, Editor-in-Chief at Digiday, and we're at the Digiday video studio in the Blockboard Villa at Cannes, Lions 2024. First day, and we are really happy to have Cavel, who's the Chief Growth Officer at Group Black, joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for
Good
being
to
with
see you
us.
again, Jim.
Good to see you too. So, what's Group Black's mission here at Cannes this year?
Yeah, I'd say our mission is always the same. You know, we showed up at Cannes 3 years ago to really be the place to represent and talk about the importance of multicultural audiences, about diverse-owned media, and really creating space also for those of us who are sort of diverse in the industry to have a place that they can be represented, where the conversations that they care about is happening. And so ultimately our mission is to continue to ensure that in this big thought leadership that is Cannes, that drives so much of our industry, that the conversation around people who are buying products who are multicultural is being sort of represented and talked about. So that's our continued mission. Specifically at this Cannes, we're excited about our huge announcement with NBCU, us launching E+ on Peacock.
Yeah, so that's a big announcement. So just give us a quick unpack on that.
Yeah, so, you know, we announced last year a huge partnership with NBCU and specifically with Peacock. We know and have the thesis that, you know, brands need to grow. And when most brands say, hey, I need to understand not just how to reach diverse audiences, Black, Brown, Hispanic, etc., but how do we connect with them? It's about attentive reach. That's the key. And so we partnered with NBC to show that when you bring content together that is relevant to different groups, different cultures, that it resonates. And the data showed in the work that we did this year that it really resonated. We saw on average brands getting 20% more reach when they partnered with Group Black on 365 Black Excellence than when they did not. And so the big growth in the announcement is, hey, we're going to take that to the next level. And so having E+ on Peacock allows us not just to have content that exists, but now it expands to us being able to bring original content. There's so many stories, inclusive stories that are not being told. And that's what we plan to do with Peacock and with E+. It's about telling inclusive stories that's going to bring more people to the platform, to Peacock, but also allow brands to connect in a more real way, because now they're not just buying sort of ads surrounding the content, they could be part of integrating with that content. So we're super excited about what this means for the industry. It is incredible reach. It is a pristine environment. And we all know that streaming is where a lot of brands are placing a bet. And we want to make sure that multicultural, diverse-owned media companies, production companies are not being left out of that.
Great. So with that said, like, what are some of the really important conversations you're going to have this week to help you even get further along that road?
Well, you know, the big conversation that happens at Cannes is what? AI, right? Well, the one thing AI is not doing, AI doesn't buy products and AI doesn't buy services. And so we have to make sure that brands are remembering that human beings are the ones that are buying your product and services. And you have to understand how to connect with human beings at a cultural level. The things we wear, what we do. I'm wearing white and tan. I would not be wearing this in Brooklyn, New York, but the culture of Cannes says this is what I should wear. And so we buy and dress, and everything we do is more about the culture that we're a part of more than anything. So how do we ensure that brands understand that culture is a superpower, right? Like, cookies are going away, but culture remains the same. And so understanding how you can use the tools to connect with culture is the part of the conversation that we're excited about having here at Cannes with others.
So this is a festival about creativity,
right,
but there's a lot of tech here as well. How do you see them both blending to help you, you know, on your mission to make the world a more culturally media-focused place?
Well, I'll give you an easy example, right? So we have a AI solution that's called Prism. And so what Prism is about is, how do you make culturally relevant content? And brands are making culturally relevant content all the time. But as we know from many, many mistakes that we've seen in the industry in the past, sometimes you can miss the mark. And so we have AI technology that can actually give a bias score to the content that brands make. So when we create the content, we run it through our AI filters to look for biases that may exist in that content that we as humans, you know, may have unconscious bias and not realize. That will detect the bias score. It comes from human data that then gets extrapolated with AI to be able to predict how an audience is going to respond with that. So there's a real symbiotic blending of technology and creativity, and we've seen that over the years to really drive against the mission that marketers are trying to achieve, which is how do they build attention, how do they build real relationships with their consumers and build lifetime value with them.
If there was one thing that you could sort of do away with or purge from the business that's getting in the way of real progress, what would it be?
You know, I think the industry sometimes has let the how take the place of the why. And what do I mean by that? Sometimes brands are probably more concerned with optimizing how they're buying and what they're buying versus why. Why is it that you are trying to reach a consumer in a specific space, leveraging media and leveraging creativity? We've sort of become so efficient and effective on KPIs and all our three-letter acronyms that we forget that, hey, the purpose here is to drive a specific action. And sometimes you have to try different things that may not fit the box that has existed in order to enable you to reach those goals. And the brands that do that, the brands who are fearless marketers, are actually the ones who are seeing exponential growth and outsized growth. And so I wish the industry would really move away from some of the okay, well, we have to do this thing in this exact way to, okay, what is the outcome that we're trying to achieve and what's the best way or new and creative ways to achieve that outcome?
When you look towards the end of this week, what do you hope to take back to, Group Black and say, this is what we accomplished?
Well, one of the big things about Can is inspiration, and we hope that we walk away being inspired also. I plan to not just be on panels talking and doing thought leadership, but really listening to what the foremost leaders in this industry are talking about. What is at the top of mind? How are we looking at the next 2 years? I know a lot of us sit there and say, well, I can't even predict the next 6 months, much less the new 2 years. But some people are going to try this week to say, here's where the future is going to be. And I think it's important for us to all listen and learn at the same time that we're sharing. So for me, it's about getting inspiration, and it's about learning from what brands and marketers are talking about, what they care about, and understand the technology and where it's moving so that we can continue at Group Black to peek around the corner and stay ahead of the curve and quickly develop the things that the marketers say that they need.
Great. All right, Cavel Khan is Chief Growth Officer at Group Black. Cavel, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Jim. Good seeing you.
Good to see you too.
All right.